In the 1950s, America was roaring. The war was over, the economy was booming, and optimism was in the air, and nothing captured that feeling better than one symbol: the Cadillac. To own a Cadillac in the 1950s wasn't just about transportation. It was a declaration. It meant you'd made it. You weren't just driving a car, you were driving the American dream. Let's rewind to the start of the decade. In 1950, car culture was exploding. Soldiers returning from World War II had money to spend, highways were expanding, and car ownership was becoming a rite of passage. But while everyone was buying cars, not everyone could buy a Cadillac. That name meant something special. Cadillac wasn't just another automobile, it was America's status symbol. Cadillac had been around since 1902, but it was after the war that it became legendary. The brand represented success, sophistication, and futuristic design. The tail fins, the chrome, the sweeping lines, every detail screamed confidence. The 1950s were a time when America believed in progress, and Cadillac looked like the future on four wheels. The company leaned into that image. Their ads didn't just sell cars, they sold pride. The message was clear: you worked hard, you earned it, and now you deserved the best. The slogan "Standard of the World" wasn't an exaggeration. It was a mission statement. If you drove a Cadillac, you were at the top of your game. You weren't showing off, you were showing success. But there was more to it than looks. Cadillac was engineering excellence. They were pioneers: automatic transmissions, powerful V8 engines, smooth suspensions. In a decade obsessed with technology and luxury, Cadillac delivered both. Driving one felt effortless. You glided down the road while everyone else bounced in lesser cars. It wasn't just a ride, it was an experience. Hollywood made sure everyone saw it. Movie stars, singers, and politicians all drove Cadillacs. Elvis Presley had a pink one. Frank Sinatra had one. Even presidents chose Cadillacs for their motorcades. On the big screen and in the magazines, Cadillac became shorthand for glamour. If you were seen behind that chrome grille, people noticed. And let's not forget those famous tail fins. Inspired by the fighter jets and rockets of the time, Cadillac's fins symbolized America's fascination with flight and the space age. Bigger fins meant more style, more power, more ambition. Every year Cadillac pushed the design further, and Americans couldn't get enough. Those cars looked like they were ready to take off. Owning a Cadillac wasn't just about getting from point A to point B. It was about how you felt between those points. In a decade built on optimism, it was the ultimate reward, proof that hard work paid off. A factory worker could dream of one. A businessman could show his success with one. Even those who couldn't afford it admired the idea. Cadillac was aspiration on wheels. But there was also something deeply cultural happening. The 1950s were a time when America was defining its identity as a superpower. The Cadillac became a reflection of that. It wasn't subtle, and it wasn't modest. It was big, bold, and confident, just like the nation itself. It said, "This is America, and we build the best." The suburban boom fed into it too. Wide new roads, gleaming garages, and drive-in diners all celebrated the car lifestyle. For many families, a Cadillac parked out front meant you'd made it to the top rung of the post-war dream. The driveway became a stage, and the Cadillac was the spotlight. Of course, not everyone loved it. Critics said Cadillacs were gaudy or excessive, but that was part of the appeal. In an age of black and white TVs and traditional values, the Cadillac stood out, a burst of color, chrome, and confidence. It was a celebration of individual success in a collective age. By the end of the 1950s, Cadillac had cemented its legend. Even as other automakers tried to copy its style, none matched its aura. It wasn't just a car brand, it was a cultural moment. The Cadillac represented post-war America's biggest emotion: hope. Hope that life would keep getting better, hope that progress was endless, hope that anyone with enough drive could someday drive one. Today, those vintage Cadillacs are rolling pieces of art, reminders of a decade when design and ambition went hand in hand. They tell a story of a country at its most confident, when the future seemed limitless and success gleamed in chrome. In the 1950s, everyone wanted a Cadillac because it wasn't just a machine, it was a mirror. It reflected what America wanted to see in itself: power, style, and the belief that the best was yet to come. Because in that moment, on those shining highways under that endless blue sky, the Cadillac wasn't just a car, it was America in motion.